welcome back everybody to AM Network's live stream, and we're back with another episode of Debunked. For tonight, joined with me is Mohit Pandey.
Because you couldn't find Sudhi this time.
Yes, where is Sudhi? We're trying to find him.
He's in Goa.
He's in Goa attending the Machine Con 2025, an invite-only exclusive event for all the GCC heads across the country. So do check out our coverage of that event on AM Network. So back to Debunk, Mohit. What we're going to talk about today?
So there's this interesting phenomena, a thing going on in Indian companies, where basically developers are now being forced to use AI tools like Cursor and Lovable.
Oh, okay.
So I spoke to one of the developers from an AI startup in Bangalore. I can't name it, obviously. So they said that their company, including their CTO, their AI head and everyone, they're just using Cursor and Lovable to make prototypes and then using it for production as well.
I think that shift is pretty weird because a few years ago or a few months ago, you had developers wanting to use AI, take these shortcuts, and then people saying don't use AI. And then what's the shift? Have tools gotten that good all of a sudden?
Tools have gotten good, I think we covered it last time as well, that Gemini is good, Cursor is getting
Claude,
good.
Claude 2.5 has come out really good. I think
it has a soul as well. I think we'll talk about it. Let's see. Okay. But what the interesting thing about this AI startup, I'm not sure if it's an isolated thing, but the manager basically told the developer, whatever coding you had to learn, you learned it in college.
Okay.
Now is the time to build and ship. So now basically a person who's coming out of college, joining a company as a fresher, they can't learn coding anymore. They can't learn anything. They just have to use AI tools.
That's true. But I think that's, Mohit, also, I think that's also a luxury that you get, that you can expect from a developer who knows the fundamentals like really well. I think just knowing what can go wrong in vibe coding or understanding the failure modes of vibe coding. I think I think that logic will apply well.
But do you think developers should have a choice?
I think developers, see, some of them, like many people I've spoken to say that, you know what, I use an AI tool for coding. I spend a lot more time verifying it.
Yeah.
As opposed to me just using my experience and just writing the code myself. I think it boils down to what the developer's strengths are. I think if he's someone who's like accustomed to years of process, he knows what algorithm works best.
Yeah.
I think that depends upon what the coder does best. But I think if you know someone who can identify the failure points of a vibe coding tool, in your team, and then you're using these vibe coding tools, I think that combination is going to be really good.
That all is great. But imagine you enter into an AI startup, you enter into a company in Bangalore. There's one more layer to this. So basically, the company is also not giving the pro subscriptions for this. They're asking the developers to buy the pro subscriptions.
Okay, and that's obviously
and then maybe we'll reimburse it later. But that person didn't get a reimbursement for the last 6 months.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's pretty. But my entire takeaway is that if he didn't get the reimbursement, did he deliver the value using those AI coding tools? I'm sure if there was value delivered to the company using these AI coding tools, like, boss, okay, I use Cursor, I sped up your project timelines by this much. I've gotten this new IP out there. Maybe the company would have reimbursed. I think the entire situation speaks for itself.
It's like Reddit talks. Okay, I just have to bash my startup, bash my company.
I think with Reddit.
But at the same time, it is a little problematic, right? If you join as a fresher and you are earning very less, you don't get a reimbursement for like, how much is Cursor? $20 per month?
$20. I think that wouldn't be enough on an enterprise, whatever production setting.
So I think in the end, companies and startups should actually provide the subscriptions. And
I think that's a no-brainer. If you're expecting them. But the problem is, I think these are some of the outlier startups which expect you to...
The new startups.
But I think that's sort of worrying for many developers as they progress in their careers, if they don't have anything to show. And also, I think that's true. I don't even think it's fair to say it's an outlier situation, because if you see many of these startup job listings, they want you to be proficient in Cursor. They want you to be proficient in Lovable.
Like we were hiring for prompt engineers, I think 2 years back.
Right.
I don't know what happened
back in
to
the day.
that,
Yeah.
You also did engineering, right?
Yeah, I did engineering, but I do prompt engineering is just English.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also what many people say. Just what to tell what to do in your head. Just articulate it well. If you're a good writer, and then I think that's. But yeah. So, but how is it? This is with regards to the startup situation. How is it with all of these, let's say, larger organizations, like let's say your service companies, where you just can't mess up with the results. At least if you have a project in a startup, you might mess up, you might take some extra time. It's all dependent internally.
Yeah.
But if you're servicing someone, if you're if you have deliverables on the table, what's the situation there? How have our Indian IT companies used vibe coding tools?
So if you have ever tracked Indian IT companies, I think the biggest metric that they track for employees and for revenue is the revenue per employee.
Revenue per employee, yes.
And if you think about it, as you said, that if this person who didn't get the reimbursement started using AI tools and was able to deliver a lot more value for the company.
True.
So then the revenue per employee for that company might increase.
Exactly.
But the problem is, if the revenue per employee for a company increases, don't you think the company will eventually decide we don't need so many people?
Exactly.
So if I was earning $100 per month, for example, if I am able to get $1,000 for the company is like, why do we need other 9 people?
Now it's like what? Revenue divided by like 9 people.
Yeah.
Then it gets revenue divided by 0. That's infinity. Anything by 0. That's a glitch.
Infinite revenue.
Forget whatever we said. But I think you also mentioned in one of your reports you had written earlier that Cognizant is going heavy on AI tools. I think that's one notable company that I think they also entered into some vibe coding related.
Yeah, they partnered with Lovable, and they had the biggest vibe coding hackathon. I think they also got a Guinness Book of World, like a new record
that's
for
very
that.
niche, but
475,000 employees, something like that. I don't remember the number. But I think Indian IT firms are partnering. Like HCL Tech was one of them who partnered with OpenAI.
Yeah, yes, that
Hexaware, I think, has partnered with Replit. So everyone is doing vibe coding.
Right.
But we don't know the impact of it on employees.
Exactly. I think it all comes back to the impact, because even if you see the AI bubble conversations today, everybody is saying, okay, fine, you have 30% code generated by AI, as Cognizant also says. But how good is that 30%? Like, how much has it sped up your project? Has that 30% savings on one project got you room to sort of sign in more projects? I think as long as companies report those metrics,
that would be the right thing. Yeah.
And it's so confusing, because after a point you realize, okay, how can you attribute revenue to AI, right? Because it's a spectrum.
It's part of all the services that already were there. Now they're embedding it again. So you cannot actually measure it. I don't know how they're measuring it.
Exactly. Now let's say I just use a Copilot chatbot in my workflow. Does it mean my workflow is AI driven? Because this is just AI assisted. Because I think there's so much confusion.
I have a question though.
Okay.
So I wrote an article. Okay. One paragraph of it was rephrased by AI.
Okay.
Do you think it's 10% AI generated?
I wouldn't say generated. I think rephrased is the key term.
Is the right
because I think that's all the spectrum that companies need to deal with, because it's very difficult to point out what portion of it was AI generated, to quantify it to because there's a lot of people asking, okay, how much of an economic impact does AI give you? And I think it's so difficult to quantify that.
That's very difficult.
But I think a baseline metric would be if you see a trend of more projects coming into you. I think we need to measure it by time.
I think
rather
time
than
is
money.
Speaking of time, I think Elon Musk recently said that by 2045 we won't have jobs.
Yep, I think that.
Are you optimistic about it, or are you pessimistic about it?
I'm not sure. I think, dude, that's again coming back to predictions. It's just been some predictions have been good, some have been off. Dario Amodei from Anthropic has been telling 90% of code is
generated by
is going to be written by AI. He said that 6 months ago, and now we're here, and nothing's changed.
My point is, if everything, like all the code is eventually going to get generated by AI, how will people learn? Like all this, again, I'm going back to the freshers thing. How will that, if someone joins after college, they join a company, they want to learn at least a little bit of coding, like boilerplate coding and everything. How will they learn that?
I think
there's no learning apart from AI tools.
Yeah, I think it just gets you another layer of abstraction, because back in the day you had people learning like assembly level code, and then you had C. And then while people learned Python, they still had to know what your binary systems were, all those hexadecimal values. Again, I don't remember, I studied this way back, but as far as I can remember, even when you had things like Python, you still had to learn the fundamentals.
Yeah.
And I think that we're going to see a similar trajectory. I think that's what people say. You're only going to be a good vibe coder if you know the fundamentals well.
Okay.
And it's also knowing the right ecosystem and what tool has like lower failure modes for your specific workload, because they say it also depends on the model, right? Like you use Cloud Opus 4.5, it's good for a particular thing. Your OpenAI Codex is good for a particular thing. I think it's this knowledge about which tool fits better into your project's workflow.
Yeah.
And that. I think that comes with experience. I think a good vibe coder is someone who's...
I think that is something the companies should also decide
Exactly.
before and instead of hiring developers.
Exactly.
So I think in resumes, people will start writing. I use Claude more. I use GPT. I'm a GPT-5 expert. I'm a Claude
I think more than that, I think they can say that, I've spent years or months using AI.
Yeah.
If you want to use AI tools, I'm the guy, because now I know where it can go wrong.
Yeah.
Before I put in something, I'll tell you, don't put in this prompt because it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think that knowledge is something that people are going to learn.
I think someone did this recently. They put their entire company's code on Gemini. I mean, that keeps happening. But speaking of predictions, coming back to the predictions once more, Adam Wolf, who's one of the creators of Claude Code, he has said what people have been saying every 2 months, every 1 month after the launch of every OpenAI GPT or anything model, that in the next 6 months, the first half of the next year, software engineering would be dead. Software engineering jobs would be dead. What do you have to say? I think one litmus test is when I see companies hiring software engineers everywhere, even Anthropic is hiring software engineers. Again, they can have that excuse that, we are developing more powerful AI tools. I think it's like marketing.
It's that, but again, see, it depends upon how good these models become, because even today, people are saying the GPT 5.1 has like ridiculous amount of hallucinations, and people are switching back to Gemini 3 Pro. Yeah. And that used to happen the other way around with Google and OpenAI a few months ago. So I think we've seen a list of predictions from the last 2-3 years, at least in the last 2 years. Yeah. I think it's just better to take it with a pinch of salt. Yeah. But it's also unfair to deny that, AI has had no impact when it comes to coding. Of course, people are using, we just came across a post today that said that there was this one startup that did not renew its contract with a SaaS company because they figured out how to build it itself. But the problem is we have to follow up with that news, because you know what happened with Klarna, right? They hired a lot of people, said that they're going to use AI for coding. Then they struggled back to hire them all. That's if someone has built a coding platform, they've built this SaaS platform. We don't know how much it's like good for them, how much beneficial it is in the long run as well. Exactly. Because there would be a lot of times they have to debug and they have to go back to the code and they don't know what code has been written. Exactly. I think, just being able to predict what failure mode comes in, and you need some engineers to be there, know your code base in detail. So, but I think this software engineering is going to die, this prediction. Why do you think this keeps coming back? I think it was sometimes back, I think 2-3 years back after ChatGPT was launched, Mark Cuban said that. I think Mark Cuban was the first one who said that, and then there were other people. Andhra Kapathi didn't say that software engineering is going to die. He said future of coding is just tab, pressing cursor. So I don't know how it will go on, but I think there are like two misinterpretations of one. The first one is, I think when they mean coding, I think they automatically mean all of these repetitive tasks that come out. I think software will shift more towards research. I think that's also what Ilya said recently. We're going to have more and more like research coming out. I think your talented coder in your team, the whatever brains he has to write an efficient line of code or an efficient program, whatever creativity he has, I think that is going to shift towards research, I'm guessing. Okay. I think maybe stuff that AI can handle right now. They're going to put it out to that. But I think there's going to be more and more research as to how these AI models may fail. I think we're going to see a blend of, both of these. When do you think we'll see a first product from Ilya startup? Do you think we have a timeline? So that's interesting, because in his podcast, he has maintained throughout that his first product is going to be a straight shot at super intelligence. Which is the first product he's going to release is going to be a super intelligent system. Okay, but he has said that single shot road is going to be less and less likely, because he has learned that people appreciate an intermediate AI product, a glimpse of what they can see before they get a full version at it. Oh, okay. So he said that, it might not be possible, and I'm leaning towards the other side where I'm going to release something incrementally. I understand how people are going to, again, it keeps coming back to the same thing, right? You'd obviously want to sit indoors in a sandbox environment, want to see, okay, what's the safest AI going to be, but you'll never know how it's going to be misused until you just sort of put it out there incrementally, do some testing. I think that's also what he said he's going to lean into.
I think going away from the topic a little bit, but this is very interesting. Doesn't this sound very much like what Jan LeCun used to say?
Exactly.
About scaling and
I think that's that funny thing that's happened, because whenever Jan LeCun said that, LLMs are not the way forward, people started saying things like, "Oh, you are the reason for Meta's downfall." And when I think Ilya said that's a
everyone is appreciating how Ilya is saying that. But okay.
Yeah, I think that hypocrisy has been there. But I don't know. I think it's just the way their public appearances have been.
I'll come back to Indian developers.
Yes, coming back to Indian developers.
There's one more thing. We are very sympathetic that they are being forced to use AI tools and everything. But there's one thing. The Indian developers rank number 1 in.
Oh, unfortunately, yes.
What is that?
That, which is sad that I don't have to take a guess, is cheating.
Cheating, yes.
What do you mean by cheating? The C word is not, you're not supposed to use it very lightly. So
it's from Codeforce's data that India ranked number 1 in cheating in all the contests combined.
Okay. And what are these contests?
Coding contests, like also interviews as well. They were giving interviews and someone was typing here and someone was giving them prompts from behind.
Oh my God.
And it was not by a small margin as well.
That was huge.
Yeah, it was huge. And Vietnam was 12 times higher as well next.
Okay.
So it's weird, whatever is happening. I mean, we should allow developers to use AI.
I think that's what happens.
They'll cheat more.
Yeah.
At least rank number 1 here.
That's pretty sad, because
sorry, developers.
Yeah, I mean, you'd want them to use AI for something. Again, I sound like a mother now, but please don't don't cheat.
Yeah.
I mean, and also I think, but what are companies doing to fight this?
Yeah. There was recently, I saw a Reddit post as well. There was a hiring manager who said they got into an interview and the developer joined and they asked some question that they weren't prepared for.
Okay.
And apparently his AI stopped working, the interviewers, and he logged off. So things like that are also happening. So,
I think that scale AI marketing has just, I don't know, man. I think pretty bad repercussions in India, I feel. Not scale AI. Cluely.
Cluely.
Wow.
Yeah. Cluely should have started in India.
Yeah, there's just a cheat on everything. I don't think that's the right precedent. Again, it might be too, I don't know.
But what ends up happening is, I think 4 months back, I think there were some CEOs, I think it was Coinbase CEO. So he said that the developers or the people who are not using AI in Coinbase, they are basically firing them. I mean, there's just too extreme.
I think that's, but also, I might empathize with Brian Armstrong here, because what if you have people in your team, these purists who spend like an hour on there are people in tech also who resist AI like it's like lava. The floor is lava, and because they just don't want AI, right, for whatever reasons. And even if whatever repetitive task that you're doing, you spend hours doing it, and obviously the CEO says, "Boss, there's AI, just finish it and give it to me quickly." I don't think, if people are not doing that, then I think that's pretty annoying. Because you have tools, just being averse to just do it quickly. I think when CEOs,
I won't buy the Cursor subscription. You buy it yourself. I'll give you reimbursement. But if you don't use it, I'll fire you.
Yeah, I think all that.
But
also I think I'm sure there's going to be a lot of details that these people would have missed seeing. I think when Coinbase CEO, when he said that I'm going to fire people who don't use AI, I think he should have also explicitly mentioned as to what he means by that.
No, but for Coinbase CEO, the company already bought enterprise subscriptions. So then if you're not using it, then you're just not adhering to the rules of the company. But at the same time, this also brings us back to that AI art conversation as well. Some artists are like, they don't want to use art. Some want to use art.
Some of them, there are a lot of people who want to use AI for art.
In the future, maybe 5 years down the line, all these art that is not created by AI might be more valuable.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe developers who are not using AI, who are writing code by manually, will they be more valuable?
I don't think so, because it's also the reason that you need to know as to why they do it.
Okay.
Why they do it manually. I think if they're just AI averse developers who do it manually, I don't think that makes sense. But if they know, I think, okay, this is when, I think, as I mentioned again, this is when I use Lovable. This is when I not use. I know this prompt is not going to work on Cloud Code. I'm not going to do it. And I know that, I need to protect my database. Maybe like Superbase isn't just enough for me. I think knowing the limitations of these tools is going to be a huge advantage. That's not us saying it. We've spoken to a lot of people who said that. And I think many industry leaders we've spoken to for our journalistic endeavors have said that, we use AI.
That's not deep research, no?
That's not deep research. Listen, we don't do deep. We talk to people every day. I think that's, so I think they've told us we use AI. A lot of developers around us. It does, like, this IT company CEO that I spoke to a few weeks ago told that they have a verification agent built via Cloud Code.
Oh, that's nice.
Right? That just fixes easy bugs by itself. And it tells you the hard parts. I'm not going to do. I'm going to let a senior developer handle it. And they've tested it enough that the small bugs are easily fixed. I think the most successful companies who are going to use AI tools are not going to be the ones who use it out of the box. They take Cloud Code. They ensure that, okay, these are my system prompts. This is what my company is strong at. This is the developers I have. These are my tasks. I think that's also why people are hiring AI automation engineers. And of course, on the other end, you have forward deployed engineers.
I think I was also speaking to one of the startup founders. He's a young guy. He was also very optimistic about using AI tools, and he also tells his employees, encourages them to use AI tools. And he said that like, contrary to the people who were saying that we're not able to learn coding because of AI tools and everything, he said that people are now able to use AI for better tasks and also learn because of that. They're able to debug things because of that. New type of debugging. They're just not spending time writing. They're going back to the code more.
Exactly. I think you got to tie the loop somewhere and say use it like let's say how we all use Wikipedia, right? I think we don't know how to do anything, just go to Wikipedia, learn what it is. I think that's all what we did in school projects. I think if you close the loop and if it helps you become a better developer every day, let them explore and not just take it at face value, right? If Lovable has done something quickly, you got to go at the back end. I think for critical applications, if it's some cute cat animation video, then probably nobody cares. Or if it's some these hobby projects, I'm gonna build a meditation app for myself. I think those things astrology app. I think that's the.
But I think covering all this, the one thing that stuck with me was at Bengaluru Tech Summit, Abhishek Singh,
that's where
IndiaAI CEO. He said that all these coding tools from Google, OpenAI, are one of the biggest threats to Indian IT employees and developers. I mean, I kind of understand why he's saying that, but why do you think he's saying that? Are these Indian IT employees just basically coding and they can be replaced by AI agents, coding agents?
I think, the kind of work that historically that many junior level engineers do, they're saying it's replaceable. Now we've also seen a lot of people in bench. There's like excess talent. I think it's just a matter of time when people realize that, okay, you have Gemini, you have your Cloud Code, you have your Opus 4.5. I think it is definitely a threat, but it depends on where you're assessing the threat, who you're assessing the threat for. I think now if you're gonna have these junior engineers, I think that's a very grim.
I think that's a question we should ask every day. While every model releases, we keep asking that.
And also, that's the thing. It's very hard for Indian IT companies to also come out and make a public statement, because the junior IT engineers, that age group of 18 to 25 years, it's a huge market sentiment, right? You wouldn't want to mess with their sort of emotions, because if we know Indian IT companies work historically have had huge like cash reserves. There's someone who depend highly on their stock growth, right? Less of free investments, a very low risk profile is what they operate with.
But I think right now this year as well, I think Indian IT firms were supposed to hire close to 1 lakh freshers in total, and that they have only achieved, I think, 25-30,000.
Exactly. So I think those are signs.
Those are signs that
but you're obviously not going to come out and say that we reduce hiring because we're using AI, because that's not the sentiment you'd want to put out to.
Exactly.
Because everybody is behind.
Meanwhile, in the West, Google, Microsoft CEO, they're all comfortable saying we're laying off because of AI.
People.
But in India, we can't do that.
Yeah, we can't do that. I think that emotion, because the engineering population is like really high. I think that has a lot of downstream effects. And when you realize that, okay, people are not going to get more jobs, people are not going to earn salary, then people are not going to be able to buy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that has that ripple effect in the market. Is again, I'm not a market guru. I'm just speculating things.
So Suprit, looking at all this, what do you think are the future roles going to look like? You said forward deployed.
Yes, I think that's one key thing, and I think the first part, forward deployed engineer, I think that's someone who understands what is a forward deployed engineer. I think in simple terms, someone who is an engineer, knows how to code, but also understands the product requirements well, talks to the customers on ground, asks them what your problems are, relays it back to your team. Someone who does the sales plus engineering part. I think that is going to be the future, because now, assuming development is going to be easier with AI, your next task is to know what a customer wants. Because I keep saying this again. Once Henry Ford said, Henry Ford, the guy who started Ford Motorworks, he said, if I ask people what they want, they would say, I'd want a better horse, but they would never say a car.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
But if you ask your clients, like, hey, I'll understand your problem, then you suggest them this is the application you need, right? They wouldn't know what exact application that they would need to solve their problem. You, as a forward deployed engineer, understand the problem well.
You'll sit with the company, you'll discuss the
you'll
problems, and you'll give them solutions.
Yeah, this is your problem. This is and then you.
It's like the Palantir kind of a model.
Exactly. Yeah, I think they championed that first. You don't just give them out of the box solution saying that use Lovable. You say, okay, you know what? You're a database heavy company. You're a privacy first company, and you want productivity. I'm going to get you an AI tool and a workflow that works with the. Again, a forward deployed engineer is just a fancy term for someone who knows that.
What does Palantir do?
Palantir is the cursor for war.
I will watch this video.
We'll watch. Yeah. Yes, and of course, what is the other type of engineer that you say?
I think that is a combination of forward deployed engineers, basically 10x engineers that we've been hearing about from Andre Karpathy and everyone, that people who use AI, people who are only using AI, as now Bengaluru people are being forced to, they are going to become the 10x engineers, and they're going to take away the jobs from people who are not using AI. Right. So I think learning AI, using AI tools is the most important thing that developers have to do. Yeah. But some are being forced to do it, some are willfully doing it. So I think that balance needs to be there, and I think companies should do something about it.
Right. In the end, I think detection is the biggest bottleneck in AI. You can't detect what is AI written content. You can't detect what is AI generated content. You can't detect how many jobs AI is being taken out, because it's unrealistic for you to expect companies and say that, okay, these many people were shipped away because we're using AI.
Yeah.
I think this detection is the real bottleneck. On that note, I hope all of you enjoyed our fun, light-hearted conversation to start off your week at AI Network. All of these are opinions of Mohit and me. We do not represent any investment advice to any company. It's just a fun, refreshing, light-hearted conversation. There you go. Hope you all enjoyed tonight's live stream with AIM Network. Stay tuned for more such episodes of Debunked and Front Page on our channel. Like, share, and subscribe. But always remember to think AI.
Think AI.